Well, hello and welcome to Eastern Front, 1942. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and start this. There's so much here. You look just at the very opening here, and you can see you have these two finished units. These guys will never go into offensive mode, even after you capture Leningrad. The instruction guide says so, but they won't do it. And here, look at the size of this unit here, 255. A lot of the Russian reserve units, there's 52 of them, are going to be rated up around this level 255. Here's one of your average units, just one of your normal units rather. This is about your average, about 90 points. Anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to show you how to set up the very first turn, and maybe a couple turns after that. There's in the instruction guide it tells you why would you want to play a game that you cannot possibly win, and it's pretty close. You're already minus the two fin units. They can only defend, so they're not going to be any good on the attack because they won't. So what we have to do here is put every one of these units into an entrenched mode. And we do have one reserve unit here. Move him over there. Now you see the Russians arrayed here, and how the Germans are arrayed. They're spaced out for the most part. There's a couple of them here and there that are next to each other here, like these guys right here. Got this guy, and this one. Okay, now here's where it gets a little tricky. You have to create a reserve, and that's what I'm going to do here. Now it looks like I'm just retreating away, but I'm not. Not really. What I'm going to do here is realign the entire German army. Or what's left of it. Come on now. Now here are the Romanians. So let's get around to these guys here. Now the Romanian troops are not that effective. They're about as effective as your average Russian troops, so they're okay for just a bit of attacking. They're better at defending, and they also suffer very badly during weather. There's something else that they failed to mention here, was weather. The weather severely affects the German troops and all their allies. Just terrible. May not affect the Finns so badly, but the rest of the units here, the Germans and the Romanians are just horrified by it. Now here's another Romanian unit. Look at the size of it. This is a pretty ineffective unit here. So you have a bunch of allied units that are small and ineffective. So basically, you don't really have that awful many troops you can really count on. So what you have to do here is make the best of a terrible situation. And we have to clean all this up here when we're done. This is just a basic order to try to get everybody away from the Russians and reorganize. And never use assault mode. That's a quick ticket to dying. What happens when the Russian winter hits their rainy season and winter season, your units will be cut down to half or worse of their muster strength and combat strength. So it's really terrible. Most of these combat strength will be cut down to nothing. And the Russians won't be touched by the weather except for slight mobility loss, and that's it. So here we go. We've have everybody set up here, so we're going to go ahead and hit the first turn and show you how we're going to rearrange everything here. Alright, you see, we pulled all the German units out of the main line here. And we're going to go ahead and re-entrench here. Let's see, who should we get over here? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. See a slight mistake there, but it's no big deal. Not that big of a deal. Okay, let's get down here, and we're going to keep one of these air units down here. That's good. Okay, let's go back up top. No, that's not right. Okay, that's good. Alright, so what you want to do is move all of these armored units up here. The whole point of this is this area here. And the reason I look at this area here is where the Russian units muster their reinforcements start back here. Okay, now the closest point for the Russians, this is where everybody expects you to do all your fighting, is down here at the bottom of the screen. So Stalingrad is really close to where the Russian reinforcements can potentially arrive, and they're very strong down here. You see all these tanks and cavalry units and all that. Look at all this stuff, man. So what we have to do is retreat away, create a defensive line, from DN per, well, boy, that's a toughie. Anyway, from this town here, straight up, through here. And we're going to go through Moscow. This is Moscow here. And we're going to set a line all the way up here. Destroy all the Russians behind this line, including all the defenders here. All the defenders that are defending Leningrad, and that'll free up all these infantry, everybody here, and all these tank units to be placed up here in this area, in this general area here. And by that time, the Russian winter should be setting in. And what we want to do is we want to have a straight line with no bulges, no units out here sticking out, nothing. Everything will be behind an infantry line that stretches from that one town down the south all the way up past Moscow. And then after winter passes, we'll take all the tank units and mobile infantry and aircraft, and we'll push through here. And we'll wait for the Russian. Well, first we'll wait for the Russian reinforcements to completely, for all of them to arrive, and then to commit themselves and march forward. And we'll try to trap the bulk of the Russians in this area here. And we'll drive our tank army, which we will create, through here. And we'll swing south, surrounding all the Russians in a gigantic net. And we will destroy every Russian we can run across. And we'll try to take Stalingrad, but that would be later on in the game. Anyway, what we want to do here, I'm going to show you how to open the game, how to set all this stuff up, because it'll all fall into place once you set it up. But if you don't follow this type of an opening, try something else, the Russians will just simply sweep you off the battlefield and roll you up. You can do really well for a while, but when that winter hits, and if you're not set up for, if you're not really winning and set up in a decent defensive position, by the time the Russian weather shows up, you'll be dead. Sorry for holding the key down there. Distracted. Okay, we're just about ready for the next turn, I believe. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, that looks good. You can see the line is forming up here. And we'll drop him, hang on. God dang it. Anyway, you can see we're, oh, we failed to move somebody. Oh, rot. Well, that's alright. That's alright, because it's going to take a while before all this stuff sets up here anyway. So everybody should arrive in time. Wrong button. Want to leave some units down south. Make sure everybody here is in entrenched mode. Okie doke, we're almost done. Make sure everybody over here is entrenched. Okay. Let's take a look at the Russians. Any reinforcements show up just yet? They have 52 armies, my god. There's one. You see what I mean about your unit strength? Most of your units are kind of weak, like these guys, the Italians. They are just, wow. Okay, there's another 54-point unit. Kind of like these guys up here. The Romanians, a 52-point unit. So you have these really weak units. And the Russian units do get a little bit stronger as the game goes, and then the reinforcements show up and they're just monsters. Anyway, let's go ahead and run a couple more turns. Whoops. And we should be able to shore that up. Okay. Alright. Oh, hang on. Take care of this first up here. Doggone it. Now I decided I'm going to move one armored unit back down here, just for safety. Okay, I believe within a turn or two we should launch our attack to start to crack the Russian line open here. Could probably start it now if I wanted to. Yeah. Come on, you. Come on. Actually, no. Let's go ahead and leave him here. Alright, we'll stick him there for the time being. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Start to turn up in just a moment. For whatever that's worth. They're only defensive units, you can't use them for attack. Anyway, here we go. Alright, now there's your breakthrough. There is your breakthrough. Ha ha ha. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, let's take a look down south. And you see what we're doing here, folks. We are turning defeat into victory. Doesn't look like that just yet, but yeah. We'll hold the Russians down here. They will never get past because there's nowhere really to go. So they'll stack up down here. And we may do a little counterattacking. Oh my. We had a roadblock. Oh, blast it all. Yeah, well, little tiny mistakes like that. And I normally wouldn't make a mistake like that in a presentation like this, but I'm going a little bit fast. But still, that's not that big of a deal. It can be ironed out really quickly by moving this guy up north and this guy back down south. Well, it should be, because there's really not going to be that much activity going on down here. There's no great rush and urge to have these guys up here just yet. It would be nice to have that air unit up here right now. That is out of place. So move him up there, and we'll get this guy down here. Now let's see what kind of Russian reinforcements are showing up. There we go. Doesn't look like much yet, but there's 52 of these quads, and some of them are guards, armies, monsters. Much bigger and better than anything you got. Okay, it looks like 3 or 4 showed up this time around. Look at that, yeah. 4 units. And if we go over to the other side of the board, look. We've been provided with nothing. Not one guy, and there isn't going to be one for the whole game. No reinforcements at all. You have your 39 or 40 odd plus units, German units that are useful. Then you have some auxiliary units, the Romanians and the Italians, and the Finns. And like I said earlier, the Romanians and the Italians are not that effective. They're good in defense for the most part, but the 50-point units, they'll get just smashed by the big Russian reserves, so they cannot come into contact with anything really. So you really are at quite a disadvantage. And when the Russian winter hits, oh my God, your units are going to just be in terrible shape. So you want to be behind this line here. You want to hold this line. You got to push. You got to take all these guys out. But you see, this is what we'll do. We'll knock all this stuff out here. Take Moscow. Create an infantry line. Knock out all these guys here. You'll see that some of these Russian units are now going to be in tough shape. See what I mean? Aha! They're no longer big and bad. That's how you surround and destroy the Russians. So what we'll do is we'll leave him entrenched here, and move him there. Take this guy in here, and I'm going to go ahead and take a break for a few minutes while I contemplate exactly what I need to do here. Need to move some of these units up north to surround the Russians off to the left. This group here, by getting a unit up here, and we need to roll these guys forward and make a quick strike, knock out all the Russians right here, and then roll around and capture Moscow. I believe we have plenty of firepower now from what looked like a completely stretched out and misplaced German army. On the defensive and in a horrible position to do virtually nothing. We now have this. We have a new defensive line we can sit behind and hold. Russians will never get through it. And we have unleashed all these tied down German tanks and infantry and air forces, which will now make quite a formidable force. You can see that even these 2 units here, without proper air support, were able to smash that Russian defender that was here, the armored unit. Reminded me of the cab. I should have taken a look. At any rate, I'll be right back in just a few minutes. Okey-doke. Okay, we're back. Well, I was out in the backyard getting some sun here. I'm in San Francisco, California, and it's nice and sunny out today. At any rate, I'm looking at this. I'm thinking this line right here looks mighty weak. Hungarians, okay. Actually, God damn it. Darn it, excuse me. Mind you. Yeah, see, now I could actually use this unit up there. That's a little bit of a loss now. Very bad. We'll leave the italics down here. And let the situation develop. Get these tanks back down there. Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake, getting these guys caught up against each other. That was bad. Very bad. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, well, yeah, we're good. Alright. Sorry about that lack of commentary. Get a little concentrated on what I'm doing here. Oops, wrong. Hopefully the tanks will get there first. Okay, looks alright down here. Don't think we'll cause any trouble just yet down here. No need to attack anything, do nothing. So maybe, actually, God darn it, percent march mode. Okay, let's take a look up top here again. It's getting a little bit, Yeah, the attack down this line didn't work exactly how I had hoped it would. The assaulting unit got there way too fast. Attacking unit hit too fast before the other unit was able to get around behind it. My fault. Yeah. Didn't time it right. Okay, let's see how this works. On the other hand, let's see. Alright. Probably brought him across earlier. So now I guess we'll wait and use him for mopping up over here. Here we go. Okay, I like that. That looks good. See how this works up here. This looks okay. Alright, eliminate these Russian defenders here. These guys should all be in trouble. Takes a look at the Russian reinforcements. Nearest one to the main battle is here. Another one is shown up here. 13th tank. Okay, 13th tank army is part of a group. Yeah, 15. One more. 14. 9. I know that those first three are part of the main group, and I guess they threw this one in for fun. You see what I mean about reinforcements? My. Isn't that something? Hot dog. Yeah. Start some mischief down here just yet? No, not yet. Not yet. Okay, these guys are in good shape. That should draw some real attention pretty soon. Okay, what do we do? Do we push forward? Yeah. Yeah, a little bit far from the action, true. Nope. Okay, let's send him up here. Alright. Alright. Guess we're just about ready. I've already got a couple turns out that shows what I've done after just about this point here, so I'm probably going to end this video pretty soon. This is, like I said, show you how my setup, what units I entrench, what units I move, who I support, what units I support, and how. So here we go. Make sure that we're ready for all this. Okay. Activity down here is still minimal. No need to do anything there. Looks like Moscow is in big trouble. This unit still is isolated, but it's okay. Nobody to worry about there. And yeah. Okay. And there we are. So I guess the trick now would be to start mopping things up. God darn it. Come on, you. Will you stop that? Boy, that's pissing me off. God, Mother McCree! Jeez, I can make you crazy after a while. Okay, looks like we have to move some of these guys forward. Oh Lord, I hate this. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we'll get him a little farther forward. Here. Come on. Hate that diagonal baloney. It's across a river though. Yeah. wait a minute. Okay. In that case, that won't work. Okay, trenched, hold, move. Guess we're ready. See if we can knock out Moscow. That would technically end the war. This is, in my opinion, would be a game winner right there. You just take Moscow, the game does end. If the Russians can't take it back within a turn or two, then the whole Soviet Union crumbles. But that's just my opinion. I think that would happen in real life, though, but whatever. This is only a simulation, and we're still down by 117 points. Here we go. Ha ha ha. What a ripped to bits Russian line. Look at that. Just ripped to bits. Most of these guys should now be in entrenched, well, in terrible states. It's a terrible state of being. Most of them are now surrounded, technically. Wipe out that one last Russian unit here. And then we'll attach all these guys to the back of those Russians over there, wipe them all out. And like I said, we'll straighten this line up here. There's a pocket. We'll wipe this pocket out, straighten the line up, and then extend our infantry straight up to here. We'll continue to attack small limited offenses here and there, but only within reach of this line, and then the ability to get right back behind that line before winter starts. Because if you get caught out here anywhere during winter time or during the rainy season, your units will slow down to a virtual crawl. The Russians won't. Your units will also suffer terrible combat strength loss, and the Russians don't. Another way for you to lose. The guy who did a rundown of this forgot to mention that particular thing is weather. Weather has a terrible effect on the Germans and their allies. Absolutely horrible. I believe the only units that don't really suffer too bad from weather are the Finns, because they're outfitted for it. But other than that, and they don't attack if they're set. They never will. Other than that, you're really in dire straits when winter hits. If your units are spread out and you're in contact with the Russians, any kind of a non-straight line type of a contact where they can get around you, they're just going to wipe you out, and then you'll lose. Because if you lose one unit, man, it's bad for you. Okay, you're in trouble just losing one guy. So I guess what we're going to do here, I'm going to halt the video here. I may come back and play a little more, but I think I've already gotten to this point already to show you just how to do this, so this is probably sufficient. You can see that all these Russian units are going to fall. They'll all go real quick. There's a lot of air support, and they'll all be isolated very soon. The last one up here, these guys are still in regular combat strength, but they'll suffer a complete breakdown real quick, and then we'll just tear them all up, go up the line from the bottom up with tanks, tank units, some aircraft, and wipe them out. And then we'll, like I said earlier, or I said now 10 times, we'll straighten up the line here. All the way up to the top. We'll muster all the tanks behind it here, a big army of tanks and infantry and aircraft, and then when the weather breaks, we'll start our inexorable push, take all these cities, wipe out all the Russian reinforcements, but also that we do have to wait a little bit until the last of the Russian units are arriving. Not until the very last one, but just about to the last of the Russian reinforcements, and then we'll start our big push and try to catch them all in a big encirclement from here all the way up to Moscow, because they'll definitely try to come back here and retake Moscow, but it's impossible. We have the river in their way, and we'll have all these mobile units, tanks, and aircraft until we'll be able to smash even their biggest and best stuff. So Okay, I think I'm done. And I'd like you guys to please leave some comments and remarks and tell me what you think of this. And maybe we can play a little Eastern Front and compare notes. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Oh yeah, one last thing I wanted to point out was the Russian reinforcements. Let's take a fast look at them. Starting at the back. You can see 16th Tank Army showing up. These are only relative strengths. It may be a lot more than this when I finally make contact with it. So these are more like estimated strengths from my point of view. So when I finally run into 43 infantry, it might be a lot tougher than 126. And there's 13 Tank Army. And here's 37, another reinforcement. See, look at the concentration of reinforcements just here on the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's number one. There's another one down here. That's 7th Cavalry. And see, it says only 87 here, but by the time it reaches the front line, it may be 200 pointer or more. So yeah. So here we have the Russian reinforcements are showing up. Many of them. And they'll show up on every turn. A bunch of them, 3 or 4. So the Russians receive a never-ending supply of men and materiel, where you get nothing. So that's why I had to come up with this type of a way to play this, to combat this insane Russian advantage of numbers and territory. They have all this maneuvering space, and you're kind of, you don't have as much. And also the horrible weather effect. That's really a monster. It's something that's should be pointed out a little more. Is your units just suffer terribly from weather, and the Russians don't. So you have to be in a completely defended position when the Russian winter, autumn and all that stuff shows up. Kept the button pressed again, huh? Gad. So anyway, I just wanted to point this out, that they're going to continue to receive nothing but heavyweight reinforcements, and then the Guard armies will show up, and those are all guaranteed to be 255. And you don't have anything approaching 255. The biggest unit you have is that 201 job up north. I think he's probably suffered some combat by now. I'll take a fast look. Oh no, look at that, he's still in good shape. Combat's down to 78, but that's because there's not a direct line. The game works on direct lines from directly toward the unit, and only a slight variation. If there's anybody in the way, like these guys here, that cuts off your line of supply. I would think you'd be able to get it through here, but the computer says nope, it has to be direct, straight line from your side of the board to where your unit's at. So I have to get a line of supply from here and go through there, so that it's blocked. And same thing for the Russians, of course. Okay, so I guess we're done now. You can see down here in the bottom left-hand corner there, it's still minus 104, so you have to capture almost all the Russian towns and destroy virtually the entire Russian army in order to get a plus score. So here we are. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, sorry for adding this little bit in here in the end, but I thought it was necessary so you could see the way the Russian reinforcements work and the way you're stone, because you don't have any, you have to make your own. Okay, this is Eastern Front, 1942 level, expert.